Am I the antagonist for panicking about a family member and their partner moving in with me? I, 25 years old female, live alone in a 3-bedroom house my parents own. The house was condemned for 10 years before I moved in. I don't pay rent, and in exchange I buy new appliances for the house, make small repairs and watch my parents' dog for them. My sister, 29 years old female, and her boyfriend, 33 years old male, are trying to build a house together and need a place to stay while they build it. They don't like all of the rules at their current apartment complex, so they canceled their lease. I am waiting to hear back from law schools, and hopefully will be moving to a different city for school in the late summer, early fall. I have had arguments with the boyfriend in the past, mostly because he teases me and makes jokes in a way I don't find funny, and he doesn't take me seriously when I ask him to stop joking that way. In the past, when I have had roommates, I mostly keep to myself in my room, so I didn't think it would be a big deal to offer my house for them to stay at, since we would only have a few months of overlap in the house anyway. Last week I was on the phone with my sister. We were talking about the house, and he mentioned fixing up the kitchen as soon as they moved in, and was talking about construction as extreme as taking walls down. Since the house was condemned for so long, the kitchen is in bad shape. The walls aren't finished and there is only one available burner to cook on. When I told them I would like if they waited until I was gone to do any construction, because I don't want to live in an active construction zone, the boyfriend got an attitude with me. That's when I started to panic. I saw my sister later in the week and told her I had been living in the house for 3 years and I didn't want him to come in and all of a sudden think he's the boss and tell me and my dog what to do. He has a history of this kind of behavior. He never listens and gets irritated when people say no to his ideas. She said she would talk to him. He sent me a long text about how he respects that it's my space, and he knows he can be an asshole sometimes, and he wants me to call him out on it. I responded saying that I appreciate that he reached out and is being reassuring. I said I wanted to meet to go over some expectations and deal breakers. No guns in the house. I did not ever specify what I meant by that or who was allowed to share. He responded saying that since I felt the need to go over expectations, that it wouldn't be a good fit. I reached out to a mutual friend, and she said they thought I was being tyrannical and would make a bunch of rules that they were required to follow with no flexibility. I don't think I came across that way, and it really wasn't my intention, but I guess I can see their perspective. They didn't even take the time to hear what I had to say before they decided they didn't want to hear it. Did I come off as tyrannical, and am I the asshole? Am I the antagonist? Oh my, it seems like you're stuck in a real-life sitcom episode. It sounds like your sister's boyfriend might be auditioning for a role on Flip This House with his grand renovation plans. I would recommend avoiding any walls coming down while you're still living there. We don't need any accidental indoor camping adventures. In terms of your concerns about setting some ground rules, it's important to communicate openly and clearly to avoid any clashes down the line. Maybe instead of expectations and deal breakers, you could rephrase it as a house harmony meeting. More welcoming, less dictatory, you know? It's a tough situation, but it seems like you were trying to establish boundaries and ensure a peaceful living arrangement. Your sister's boyfriend's reaction was a bit abrupt, but hey, at least he acknowledged his potential asshole tendencies, right? So in this sitcom scenario, I'd say you're definitely not the asshole, just the reluctant star of an unexpected house drama. Would I be the asshole if I called out my cousin to the whole family about the name they have chosen for their baby? Sorry for any mistakes. This is my first Reddit post. I, 32 years old female, come from a fairly large family. With my dad's side being Italian, we've always been extremely close. I have 2 older siblings, a brother and sister, and a younger half-brother. Growing up, we were thick as thieves with our cousins. They were as good as sisters to me and my siblings. Me and my older siblings lost our mom when I was 10 months old. My dad was driven into alcoholism, which led to us being put into foster care for a while. With how hard our mom's loss hit my family, no one from the extended family ever talked about her. No one brought her up or really mentioned her to us out of fear of sending my dad back into alcoholism. On top of all of that, we also lost our dad back in 2016. A while back, both my sister Stacy and cousin Beth, fake names, announced they were pregnant, with Stacy having a boy and Beth having a girl. About 2 months ago, Stacy reached out to Beth and asked her about baby names they're thinking of. Beth and her husband had gone back and forth on names, but the first one they agreed on was our deceased mother's name. Stacy nicely told Beth that me, her, and our brother have all talked about using our mom's name for one of our own kids. And if she were to use it, it would hurt all of us a great deal. So you'd think that would be the end of it, but no. I imagine growing up with parents that made a lot of money and rarely told you no can sometimes make one lack empathy. After Stacy and Beth talked, Beth ghosted Stacy for 6 weeks, after which she sent me and my older siblings a group text where she stated that they're moving forward with using our deceased mother's name. Not because they want to honor our mom, and not because it holds some family significance on her husband's side. It's literally just the first name the 2 of them agreed on. Stacy has always been the one to speak for our sibling pack, but she's pregnant and need to stay calm. I already dedicated myself to my Disney villain era, so I went up to bat for me and my siblings and bluntly responded to Beth. If I can, I'll post the messages in the comments 'cause character limit. I love my family, but if my dad were still alive, he'd be raising more than just hell upon my cousin. I really want to bring this up with the entire family. I want to make it perfectly clear where me and my siblings stand and what my boundaries are. I don't want to be at any gathering with Beth or her child. I don't want anyone to mention her child's name around me. They didn't mention my mom around us for 23 years, they can do it again. I feel bad because my uncle, Beth's dad, has always been there for us. He got us back to our dad when we were in foster care, and he helped with all the legal stuff when our dad died. I just don't know if I'd be an asshole if I brought this up before Beth announces the name to the whole family. In a situation like this, it's crucial to handle it with grace and humor, even though it's a serious matter. Family dynamics can be as complicated as solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, especially when it comes to naming babies. First off, allow me to extend my virtual hugs for the roller coaster your family has been riding since forever. Your mom may be resting in peace, but it seems her name is causing some turbulence in the family skies. Beth's decision to ghost Stacy and then drop the bomb about naming her baby after your dearly departed mother is like trying to teach a cat to bark. It's just not gonna work. It's as if she's playing a game of Family Feud without understanding the rules. You stepping up during your Disney villain era to protect your family's honor is commendable. Channel that inner Maleficent girl. Your boundaries are as important as a seatbelt on a roller coaster. They keep you safe from flying off the emotional rails. As for bringing it up with the family, well, it might be like throwing a Molotov cocktail into a bonfire. But hey, sometimes you gotta roast a marshmallow in the chaos. Your uncle may have been a rock in the storm of your life, but that doesn't mean you have to cozy up to every branch on the family tree. In conclusion, the name may be just a name to Beth and her hubby, but to you, it's a piece of your mother's legacy. It's like a rare diamond in a sea of costume jewelry. So stand firm, express your feelings, and remember, even in the darkest moments there's always room for a little laughter. Best of luck navigating this family ship through the stormy seas. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister-in-law that her family can't stay at my beach house anymore even though they helped build it? I'm 31 years old and my husband is 38 years old. We live about 3 hours away from my sister-in-law's family, her husband, 2 kids. A few years ago, my husband and I bought a really rundown property on the coast, a couple of hours from where we live. I wanted to make a project of fixing it up, and my husband liked the idea and was happy to support it, but it was mostly my project. I put a lot of effort into fixing it as cheaply as possible, went over and stayed there for many nights, and literally did a lot of the construction. My husband came and helped about half the time. I sourced recycled wood and such, so almost all the materials are found in some way. Once it was partially finished, I thought I could enlist my sister-in-law's help, so I told her about this project and asked if she wanted to come stay over for a few days with her family and help finish up the work. She brought her kids and husband and slept out on the deck and did things like painting and building some furniture, etc. When it was finished, it was really beautiful. We started renting it out on Airbnb and have had good success with that so far. I did say that my sister-in-law's family could come stay anytime because they helped with it. There are 2 parts to the house that have separate kitchens and bathrooms, so we've kept the top for us and my sister-in-law's family, and the bottom for Airbnb. Last week they were there at the same time as some paid guests. I got a complaint from the guests afterward that my sister-in-law's kids had made fun of their kids, and that my sister-in-law told them that this was their house, so the guests don't get to dictate how their kids behave. I asked my sister-in-law about this, and she said their kids wanted to play with the guests' kids on the beach, and the guests' kids tried to ask her kids to leave them alone, but they wouldn't. They were playing volleyball, and her kids were much better and rightfully proud of it. I got upset, and I told her she wasn't allowed to stay there anymore. She can't be considerate of the fact that this is also a business, and you can't be disrespectful to customers, or anyone. Now she says I'm in because I promised she could stay anytime. I must say, your coastal property sounds like a labor of love. It's great to see your dedication to turning it into a beautiful Airbnb rental. However, it seems like a bit of a sandcastle situation with your sister-in-law and her family. While their help in finishing the project was invaluable, the kids' beach behavior, unfortunately, misplaced their volleyball skills in the realm of sportsmanship. Your sister-in-law's stance of this is their house must have caused quite a wave with the paid guests. It's one thing to claim home turf superiority on the beach volleyball court, but a different game altogether when it comes to respecting paying guests. After all, nobody enjoys a game of that's my sandcastle. Setting boundaries with family can be like navigating a rocky shore, but it's crucial to maintain a professional vision for your Airbnb business. When it comes to running a successful venture, customer experience must always ride the wave. It might be time for a friendly reminder to your sister-in-law that while she's welcome to stay, the business tide must not be pushed. In the end, it's about finding the right balance between family ties and business endeavors, ensuring everyone plays fair on the beach and off. It may be a rocky road ahead, but with a little humor and a lot of understanding, you can navigate these waters and keep the harmony afloat. Would I be the antagonist for no longer giving my ex their allowance? I, 30-year-old male, have been living with my girlfriend, 31-year-old female, for a little over a year. We share just about everything and have been through a lot of rough times, including living in her car together. When I got a new job, she indicated that she wanted to go back to college to finish her medical degree. I was fully supportive of this, and we worked out the details of our budget together. We considered the money I was bringing in as our money, not mine. This was mutually agreed upon by both of us when we made the budget, that I would be responsible for paying for things, bills, food, etc., until she graduated. Included in our budget was a small amount of spending money, essentially an allowance for each of us. We could spend our allowance on whatever we wanted and often would spend our allowances on each other, gifts, paying for date night, etc. Now, I will preface this by saying it is entirely my fault this has happened. I have lived most of my life with undiagnosed bipolar disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. I recently got them diagnosed, but I'm still learning the ins and outs of how to behave like a normal person. I am quick to anger when I'm doing something and get interrupted. I often assume when someone is upset about something that they are upset at, or blame me for it, which causes me to get hyper-defensive. I don't do well at expressing my emotions or how much I care about things people. I know all of these are issues of mine and not the responsibility of anyone else to fix. While my girlfriend has been supportive and tried her best to help me with these issues, as well as making me take more interest in caring for myself properly, she recently has hit her limit. It wasn't any one thing. I've never laid hands on her, never threatened her, barely raised my voice. However, my attitude reflects my emotions even in the times I am aware of what I'm doing and actively trying to calm myself down. She broke up with me, saying that we need to fix our friendship before we can consider being in a relationship. I do not disagree. Over the last few months, things have been steadily sliding downhill, and I can see the logic of her decision. I do not blame her, I do not hate her, and I am not upset with her over this decision, and I do want us to remain friends through this. She, in my eyes, has done nothing wrong here. Now, there were certain things I agreed to which I would not feel comfortable taking back. For example, I am not comfortable dumping her car payment, cell phone bill, food for her dogs, etc., on her over this. These, as far as I am concerned, are basic necessities of life, and she is going to school full-time. Since all of her necessities are taken care of, I do not feel like it is fair to me to have to continue giving her additional money. Would I be the asshole if I stopped giving her that money but continued keeping up the rest of my promise to her? While your situation may have its ups and downs, it sounds like you both have been through quite the roller coaster ride together. It's unfortunate that your girlfriend has reached her breaking point, but it's an opportunity for both of you to work on rebuilding your friendship and relationship. It's great that you're taking responsibility for your behavior and acknowledging your struggles with bipolar disorder and ADHD. It's commendable that you want to remain friends and maintain your support for her in essential aspects of her life. Regarding the financial situation, it's understandable that you may feel hesitant about continuing to provide extra money beyond the agreed-upon necessities. It's important to consider your own well-being and boundaries in this situation. Open communication and setting clear expectations moving forward will be crucial for both of you to navigate this transition period. In the end, it's about finding a balance that works for both of you as you move forward. Remember to approach these discussions with honesty, empathy, and humor. A little laughter can go a long way in difficult times. Am I the antagonist for getting upset at my parents for being late to my college classes? I, 20 years old female, was late for class today, and I'm not saying that it isn't my fault, but I am mad at my parents. For some context, I live at home with my strict parents, due to financial reasons. Yesterday, I had gone out with my boyfriend, 20 years old male, and spent almost the day out with him. By the time I got home, I was tired and ready to go to bed. My mother, 44 years old female, was practicing my little sister, 17 years old female, hair for prom. While I was passing by, my mother asked if I would help look for the box of hair elastics, the rubber band kind. I agreed despite the fact I was tired and just got home. So I checked around my room and in the bathroom, but I couldn't find them. My mother blew up at me after that, heavily insisting that I had them and had hidden them. And to look better, I will say when I was younger I had a habit of cramming stuff, but I had long outgrown that. I had gone to look better but paused to send my boyfriend pictures from today. That was when my mother came in and saw me on my phone and got angry, making me give it to her. Reminder, I am 20 years old and neither of my parents bought that phone. After that, she had had enough and went through my jewelry and hair cases, making a mess of them. She never found the rubber bands as far as I know, but she did make me clean up the mess, and that she would check it once I was done. By the time she left, I still have not changed out of the clothes I went out in. So I did. I cleaned up the mess and let her know. I don't think she ever came. I ended up falling asleep on the floor, later waking up turning on my old alarm clock I never use, and moving into my bed to fall into a restless sleep. My mornings usually start with one of the 3 alarms I set on my phone. I get ready and my boyfriend picks me up to take me to school at 9. I will say I sleep on the 2nd floor and I am a very deep sleeper, hence my 3 alarms. I was woken up this morning to my mother busting into my room saying that I am late. And it was true, it was 10:30. If this was just the case, I would accept that this was more my fault. But it wasn't only this. Due to my mother having my phone, my father didn't know it had died and no one heard him call. My mother, who was awake at the time, didn't answer the door when he knocked and rang the doorbell, and ignored when he called her since she had never saved her contact. Yet she still says this is all my fault, and I am more grounded now. Again, I am 20 years old. I am currently typing this as I am in my online class. But I need to know if I am the asshole for being upset that they are only blaming me. First of all, let me just say that the real crime here seems to be the disappearance of these elusive hair elastics, a case worthy of Sherlock Holmes himself. But joking aside, it does sound like a frustrating situation to be in, especially when you feel like you're being unfairly blamed. It's understandable that you're upset about the whole ordeal, particularly when you were essentially set up for a tardy awakening. Your parents' approach may seem a bit harsh considering the circumstances. It's important to have open communication about your feelings with them, even if it's done in a way that doesn't lead to another rubber band manhunt. In the grand scheme of things, being late for class is not a major offense, even if it did result from a series of unfortunate events. Just remember that everyone has their off days, and this incident can serve as a lesson in problem solving and communication moving forward. So no, you're not the asshole for feeling frustrated by the situation. But maybe suggest investing in a backup alarm clock just in case those pesky hair elastics strike again. Am I the antagonist for not including my niece and nephews in our holiday? I am 27 years old female, and my husband is 32 years old male. We are on holidays with our 2 kids, a 4-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl. I am also 6 months pregnant with twins. We are visiting my family in my hometown. As my biological father and stepmother live in a small 2-bedroom unit, we opted to stay in a motor inn owned by family friends. We got a great deal on a 3-bedroom townhouse for the week. While here, we plan on taking our kids to the zoo, soft play center, adventure park, and a couple of school holiday programs, as well as catching up with family and friends. My stepsister, who is 28 years old and a single mother, lives half an hour away with her 3 kids. A 10-year-old boy, a 6-year-old boy, and a 3-year-old girl. When she learned we were coming to town, she automatically assumed she could leave her kids with us. They showed up at my stepmother and father's place while we were having lunch and waiting to check into the hotel. She tried to leave her kids with us, stating that her kids haven't had the opportunity to do anything fun these holidays. We have plenty of room in the townhouse. It's good for my kids to learn to be nice to kids who are less privileged, etc. We refused, and my stepsister then started yelling about how we're selfish for not including them, how it's unfair that we can afford to go on holidays and do fun things that our kids probably won't remember. We should be supportive of her and more sympathetic to how tough it is for her as a single parent. And it's time for me to step up as her sister and do my part instead of expecting my father and stepmother to always help out with her kids. I got angry and yelled back that her kids are not our responsibility. We have our own kids to care for. It's not my fault that she can't find a job. And it's not my fault she keeps having kids she can't support or take care of. We ended up leaving and fortunately were able to check in early. My stepmother and stepsister have been blowing up my phone along with some friends and family, saying I'm in the wrong because we are financially capable of having the kids with us, and my stepmother could be available for a few hours each day to help out, so we should assist. My husband and father support my stance, although they mentioned I may have been a bit harsh during the argument. Wow, sounds like your stepsister wanted to dump her kids on you like a bad episode of Super Nanny. It's great that you guys have planned a fun holiday with your own little ones and didn't let her guilt trip derail your plans. It's important to take care of your own family first, especially when you're preggo with twins. Stand your ground, Mama Bear, and enjoy your well-deserved vacation. As for your stepsister, she needs to figure out her own circus act without expecting you to be the ringmaster. Cheers to dodging that drama. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.